Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. My name is Chris Chichester. These are 4 criminal complaints I'm going to read. It's the cover letter. It's going to arrive in your office on Monday. I believe there won't be an arrest, and there certainly won't be any jail time for any of these individuals. And as I say in here, these are crimes. And I've been saying to you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, for 18 plus months, that you don't know what a crime is, your employees don't know what a crime is. I've been saying to you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, that you don't know what a crime is, and your employees don't know what a crime is. And this is, again, going to be the validation of that sick fact. So, July 22nd, Sheriff Todd Baxter, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14604. District Attorney Sandra Doorley, 47 South Fitzroy Street, Rochester, New York, 14604. Attached to 4 criminal complaints with this language. 1, that Richard J. Seegan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, walked into Penfield Public Library in Penfield, New York, ran at Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the ceramic tile floor. 2, Nayrosh Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, 2033 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, 14526, falsely reporting an incident of Christopher Chichester performing 26 Sanders from Drive in his walking through the parking lot next to his residence. 3, Antonio Spano of Fairport, New York, locked the front and back doors of the residence of 26 Sanders from Drive in Penfield, New York, without a court order. 4, Laura Ryan Webster, New York, transported the personal belongings of Christopher Chichester for 26 Sanders from Drive in Penfield, New York, to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. These are crimes. Each individual will not be arrested or prosecuted. There isn't one day in jail served for these crimes that have destroyed my life, because you are incapable of identifying a crime and you concoct crimes for innocent citizens. You hate the human condition. And then on this document, which will arrive in your office, is YouTube rejection for 113-918 Perry Duckles and 112-508 Mark Monahan. YouTube unconstitutional, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and Alex Renzi. I'm saying it's rejection. Language requires precision. I think about a word like that. Perry Duckles and Mark Monahan, I'm demanding of them throughout this YouTube that they disclose to me and mail to me at my email address or my mail.com address the names of my prosecutors. It's called rejection because I reject that. Unconstitutional. This is called unconstitutional for a number of reasons. I believe it's unconstitutional for Paul C. Metz to convene Town Court, this $28,000 bald-headed widow I hope burns in hell, without the district attorney's office being notified or present. Because they're not present. If they're not present, they weren't notified. She is one person who wants to send me to jail. I believe that's unconstitutional. Then I tell you which should be obvious to you, which will never be obvious, and that's resign. So, it's going to arrive right here. Todd Baxter, there's your name. Sandra Doorley, there's your name. Alex Renzi, there's your name. Why am I being back in front of this $208,000 hacking fossil? There's no idea what's going on. You should be needing help out falling and can't get up commercial. Trinity Ross is going to get it. What is it? Now, we want to explain this to you, hacks, sociopaths, the district attorney's office. You're not going to get it. Because you cannot identify a crime. Because you're a joke. So, here it is, says Supreme Court of the State of New York. The Monroe County Clerk sent this to me. Jamie Morera, I believe is her name. I have to do this from memory. But her office did. When I said to the office of Monroe County Clerk, I also went down there, can you please send me the form to file a criminal complaint? This is what they sent me from the Monroe County Clerk. I don't know if it's the clerk herself or one of her employees, but this came to the clerk. I have it on my Gmail. So this is the form I'm told by the clerk for a criminal complaint. Like I said, it's not going to matter. This is the one, the criminal complaint of the 4 that enrages me the most, because this is violence upon me by sworn officer law, who should have been immediately fired and wasn't. Because I saw him when you arrested me for double jeopardy in Penfield Road. I'll be back on here again soon with the title's going to be double jeopardy on Penfield Road. So, Supreme Court of the State of New York, plaintiff against complaint, defendant to the Supreme Court of the State of New York. The complainant of the plaintiff, Christopher Chichester, respectfully shows and alleges as follows: that Richard J. Steepen of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office walked into Penfield Public Library in Penfield, New York, ran at Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm at the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the ceramic tile floor. This is a violent, sick, disgusting attack by the sociopath who I had previous confrontations with, who stalked me into the library, who's staring at my door when I leave my residence for the last time. I do not know this is going to be the last time I leave my residence. It's just a destruction of my life by this violent fanatic. And since you, Todd Baxter, and the embrace of violence, it does not matter that your sworn officers law attack innocent citizens. So, this is what I believe is the important part here, because I went to Christopher M. Price. He's a notary at the Monroe branch of the Rochester Public Library. Christopher M. Price, when I asked him, because I wasn't sure about just this document, I said, do I have to have this notarized as a criminal complaint? And Christopher M. Price told me yes, and that he's done this previously. So this says, sworn to me before this 21st day of July, 2023, Notary Public, Christopher M. Price, Notary Public, State of New York, REG number, and there's the number, qualified Monroe County Commission, expires June 29, 2027. So there's my signature up here, Christopher M. Price. Second criminal complaint. This is the parking lot next to where I live. I'm walking back from Gold's Gym in Fairport, and A-Rod shot his 50-year-old man who was with 70 mother, starts to scream at me. He goes to the sheriff's office about me walking through his parking lot and this leads to my arrest. This is the fictitious document, the fantasy in the head of the sick individual, A-Rod shot. This here is the false reporting incident. When he goes to the sheriff's office about this accusatory instrument here, about me walking through this parking lot, and in this parking lot, you can see two people at the top right here walking this parking lot. I've walked through this parking lot 4,000 times. Just like my excellent friend Adam, who used to live next to me at this residence. Just like Ellie Roth, who works right here at 2025 Penfield, and Nancy Dooley, his employee, works. He can walk through this parking lot. The elderly woman across the street from me walks through this parking lot. Penfield High School students walk through this parking lot. Depending on the weather, between 5 and 20 people a day will walk through this parking lot. Because it's raining and snowing, nobody's going to walk through it. In the summertime, 20 plus people a day walk through this parking lot. False reporting innocence is as basic and simple as it gets, and basic and simple is alien to you at the district attorney's office, sheriff's office, because he won't be arrested. So, they were shot, Kumar shot, 2033 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, 14526, false reporting incident of Christopher Chichester, formerly 26 Sandra Farm Drive, and his walk through the park next to his residence. This is the level of being a psychopath for this Nehra Shah. And I understand the gravity of calling a human being a psychopath, because Layla Shah is the complainant on here. It says the victim's name. How is she possibly, or he possibly a victim? I have the confrontation with Nehra Shah. I don't know what his idiot mother looks like until I go to the YMCA one day after I get out of jail. So Nehra Shah was an attorney. This is what I think he's thinking. I cannot expose myself and place myself at risk as an attorney when I had this confrontation from the citizen who lives right next to me. So I'll get my mother to go to the sheriff's office, and her name will be on the accusatory instrument, and her name will be on the complaint, because he knows in his Machiavellian mindset, this sick individual, that he could be exposing himself to what I'm trying to do to him right now. What I'm trying to do to him right now, I've been trying to do to him, is to spar him. Do you understand that this is fanaticism? I have a confrontation with Nehra Shah. The mother here goes to the sheriff. And then when at the YMCA, she walks up, when I'm on the rowing machine, she walks up to an employee at the YMCA and points to me and says he doesn't belong to the YMCA. Then I had to meet with Michael Avery at the YMCA, and he told me I was welcome to come there anytime I wanted. So this, again, is Notary Public, Christopher M. Price, 21st day of July, Notary Public. There's my signature right there. This is a crime. To go to the sheriff's office when you walk through that parking lot. It's not a crime to walk through that parking lot. And you have to expend resources in the person of your cop freak, Shannon Meyer, because after this psychopath mother's boy, Nehra Shah, called me, your cop freak, then $67,000 Shannon Meyer, called me. And everything I'm saying here, I said to her, why are you calling me? People walk through this parking lot all day long. It's not a crime to walk through this parking lot. There's real crime crashing down in Monroe County, Penfield. And you're calling me about walking through a parking lot, but not anybody else. And then you gave her a $16,000 raise because this cop freak is paid $83,000 now. So I get out of Livingston County Jail. I outprocess the sheriff's office. I can't be in Monroe County Jail because I was told I was a security threat at Livingston County Jail. I run back down Penfield Road. I put my key in the door. It doesn't open the front door. The lock has been changed. Sliding glass door on the back has been fixed. I'm locked out by Antonino Spano, Fairport, North One. I don't know this happens. And my ex-girlfriend took everything I own from that residence when I don't know this happened. And I'm locked out. I walked to Harris Whalen Park and slept in the park for 3 weeks. So here, Supreme Court State of New York plaintiff, that's me, against defendant, to the complaint of the complaint of the plaintiff. Christopher Chichester respectfully shows and alleges as follows. Antonio Spano, Fairport, New York, locked the front door and back doors of the residence 7 years, 26 Sandra Farm Drive in Penfield, New York, without a court order. It It's as simple as it gets. There's no court order. I lived here for 7 years. I'm going to make a list and send it to your office of things that are gone. My dress greens from 17 Cavalry 101st Airborne Division are gone because of this old man. My racing shoes that I've worn in race after race throughout Monroe County, and runners obsess about their racing shoes. Blue ones and gray ones are gone. All my running jerseys are gone. Rings I have worn for 30 years, including rings my mother gave me, are gone. St. Christopher necklaces that my mother gave me are gone. And she would tell me St. Christopher will always protect you. What do you think I think about that language today as I write these criminal complaints? So, Anthony Spinal Fairport, Newark, locked the front and back doors of the residence 7 years, 26 Sandra, from John Pemp, New York, right out of corridor. I will repeat things because you have to have things repeated. This is a crime. You cannot recognize a crime at the district attorney's office, the sheriff's office, because she's Johnstown Kool-Aid drinkers, because she lived in 1984. So here it is here. Sworn to me before this day, 21st July, Christopher M. Price, Doorley Public State of New York. Fourth and final one. First, I was just asking my ex-girlfriend, just tell me what happened with taking all my things to storage locker. Why'd you leave my 1,000 books in there? And she's ignoring me. I've talked to her on this TikTok app, on YouTube, in writing, on email. I sent documentation to her residence where I think she lives in Webster, where we both used to live, and it's nothing from her. I don't have vengeance in the heart for my ex-girlfriend I've known for 35 years and was once an angel. She's just refusing over and over and over to tell me what happened. And this is my life. I have nothing because of her. And this is a crime that you can't recognize at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office. Supreme Court, State of New York. To Supreme Court, State of New York, the complaint of the plaintiff, Christopher Chichester, respectfully shows and alleges as follows. Laura Riley of Webster, New York, transported the personal possessions of Christopher Chichester for 26 Sandra Farm Drive, Benford, New York, to a storage locker in Webster, New York, without a court order. It's as simple as it gets. This is a crime. She will not be arrested, charged. None of these individuals here sworn to me this day, 21st July, Christopher M. Price, Doorley Republic. Here it is right here. What I just read to you. I understand if I'm not watching on YouTube, I'll repeat myself. I get that. I understand nobody watches me. This arrives in your office because here it is right here. Trinity Ross, Todd Baxter, Sandra, Doorley, Alex Renzi. Who forced me into Alex Renzi? Tell me who forced me into Alex Renzi, Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan. Because is it Sandra Doorley, my landlord, locking me out? What I don't have? My birth certificate from July 4, 1965 was black and white. Booth Memorial Hospital, Queens, New York. I don't have my birth certificate because it is all man. Well, I hope burns in hell. I'm constantly thinking about images of hell and how I hope he burns in hell. Right here, Christopher Chichester. I'm going to send this to your office. You can see it, mail and application. I still haven't gotten it yet. This is when I was at my temporary residence. So, Queens, New York, Booth Memorial Hospital, Margaret Hennessy, my mother, William Chichester, my father. You have to write here, where's your birth certificate? And I wrote, I don't know. Not known, I should say. My language is not known. So, what are the names of my prosecutors? Perry Douglas and Mark Monahan. This is attached to PDF. I'm communicating with you on this YouTube page. Mail the names of my prosecutor's sons. The address is Blow on Park Avenue, Rochester, New York. Attached to Freedom of Information Law documents dated July 20, 2023. With this language, quote, documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, Pemberton Court for John P. Metzer Jr. was named prosecutor Sandra Doorley. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, Pemberton Court for Paul C. Metzer was named prosecutor Sandra Doorley. Documentation for the case of Christopher Chichester, New York State Supreme Court for Alex Renzi was named prosecutor Sandra Doorley. You will refuse to disclose the names of these prosecutors signs of my concocted criminal charges. Each is responsible for fiction and lies that deposit me in jail 6 times. You know the names of these hacks, sociopaths, and freaks. How is a citizen in jail anywhere in the state of New York when a prosecutor doesn't talk in court? Here's the links right here. Rejection for $113,000 Perry Douglas, $112,000 Mark Monahan, YouTube unconstitutional on Sheriff Baxter, District Attorney Sandra, and Judge Alex Renzi. I will tell you what will happen to me. Psychopath and at the sheriff's office under this bald-headed Benito Mussolini clone, Todd K. Baxter, will drive up to me when I'm walking in Monroe County. I'll be taken to a corrupt judge. I'll be declared guilty of the latest fiction and lies, a language in jail where I'm not told a sentence. I don't have civil and constitutional rights. I don't have due process because your boss, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, is a criminal. Christopher Chichester, 620 Park Avenue, PNB number 361, Rochester, 14604. This is exactly what I just said will happen to me because it's easy to find me. You'll drive up to me, put the handcuffs on me. You'll be taken to a a corrupt judge, declare guilty, or you'll just deposit me in jail and keep me in jail. That's the other frightening thing that I do not know if this is constitutional. You can arrest me and then I'm going to go to jail. Because all it takes is one corrupt judge. All it takes is one corrupt assistant district attorney to write a warrant. And it's a lie. And it's a fiction. That's how easy it is to be in jail. Where this assistant district attorney or this judge just decides you're going to be in jail, and there your ass is in jail. When they don't have to defend a warrant. They don't have to defend anything. At that revolting shack at 47 South Fitzhugh. I don't have any clothes. I don't have any clothes. Because you, Todd Baxter, and you, Sandra Doorley, and you, Alex Renzi. So, this is called anger. The level of hatred I have for you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, and your employees, and you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, and your employees, is extremely difficult to manage. Because on my 50th birthday, July 4, 2015, I got a speeding ticket in Albany, New York, speeding ticket in Washington, D.C., and both was dismissed when I went to court. I have always known what constitutes a crime. Shannon Meyer has criminal attempt second for me. When I walk outside, I stand right here. That's exactly where I'm standing. I say nobody owns this land to a man named Steve Desmond, Brock Coltrane, in Longtown, and walk back on my residence. That's not a crime, Sheriff Todd Baxter. And I was telling you this within a week of this happening to me. And this is how you don't give a damn about anybody's life. Because this cop freak got a $16,000 raise. It's not a crime to stand here, tell a magistrate that nobody owns the land, and walk back to my residence. I go to a gym called PW Fitness. Up walks to me Jermaine Bem. He stands over me, punches down my head, starts back violently. He tells me to wait in the backseat of his vehicle. And then Jermaine Bem walks around the vehicle. He says, I want to press charges against you. With those 7 words, I'm charged with harassment second. Who did I just harass, Todd Baxter? This happened in a 2-week period, a 3-week period. I have to go to John P. Lomenzo Jr. I appear there where I don't have a public defender and I don't have a private counsel because I don't have the money for it. I look to my left. She doesn't talk. Is this Julie Hahn or is this not Julie Hahn? And I'm sent to Monroe County Jail in front of John P. Lomenzo Jr. when a prosecutor doesn't talk to court for 2 lies where I haven't committed these crimes. And you're refusing over and over and over, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Mark Monahan, and Perry Douglas, to tell me who his freak was, who stood in Pamphlet Town Court for John P. Lomenzo Jr. and didn't make an argument that I committed criminal attempt second and harassment second. And the reason why she didn't make an argument that I committed criminal attempt second and harassment second, because it's impossible to make that argument. This is the sheriff right there. I used to drive over there to where I was. Smells nice. I was honest right here. It's right here. Is this private technology? Would you buy it and fix it? Me and Ellie Roth, who works at this business, knows the answer. I hate to use that word because I know you can humiliate me. How many times I've used the Freedom of Information Law? I used to live near this loft, over and over. I would get the foil, I'd put it in front of me. I'm demanding information. Every single document here is a foil where I'm demanding if you have used taxpayer dollars to settle employment-related discrimination lawsuits under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Trying to find out the sexual harassment lawsuit settlements, the sheriff's office attorneys, you're refusing. There's a knife right here. I would wear this knife on my hip. Because when I would walk to my residence on 1 Pleasant Street, because of the freaks outside the transit center, I constantly had this on my belt. And violence is crashing down on Monroe County. There's violence all throughout this county. And your cop freak Shannon Meyer and Andrew Reale, Don Benedetto, Michael Lulan are concocting crimes for me. Benedetto and Houlihan, employees of the district attorney's office, sheriff's office. You can't see here, but right next to here is the private property of my neighbor. They walked onto the private property of my neighbor and hid. $85,000 Don Benedetto and $73,000 Michael Houlihan. I'm going away because anything they say is a lie. Cop freaks and perjurers cannot be believed about anything. I turn around and run away. Benedetto and Houlihan run alongside my reds. I grab a hammer next to my bike. I place my foot on the first 3 steps to run through the sliding glass door. Michael Houlihan in the Monroe County Sheriff's Office grabs my arm. The hammer goes up like this. I run through the sliding glass door. I never stop running. I slam the screen door shut. They're outside. There's about 10 of them out there. I never stop running. My forward motion carried me to the sliding glass door. What do you fail to understand, employees of the district attorney's office, sheriff's office? Because you do fail to understand. Michael Hulan came back to the district attorney's office and lied. And then when Michelle Crowley, the district attorney's office, convened a grand jury, well, I don't know the grand jury's convened. You want the 18 to 24 stupidest people in Monroe County. And when Michael Hulan, the sheriff's office, states that I swung a hammer at him, when I ran the whole time, my forward motion carried me to the sliding glass door. Michael Hulan, the sheriff's office, perjures himself. My next criminal complaint in the next 7 days, I'll be back on here and send it to your office about him lying under oath in that grand jury when he said I swung a hammer at him. Won't matter at all. You Todd Baxter's journey embrace of a perjurer like Michael Hulan, a violent freak like Richard Seaton, employees that don't know what constitutes a crime like Andrew Reale and Shannon Meyer. This is a Jonestown. This is a 1984, you Benito Mussolini skinhead. You would never know it. So. I look at this. I was given this the first time I was in Monroe County Jail. This is my history of the inmate here. Where here's Lomenzo here. This is what I demand to know from you, you bald-headed widow Paul C. Metzler, you $28,000 Cipher, and $34,000 James P. Mullen Jr. It says disobeying court right here. This is the fanaticism of this little room, Perry Douglas and Mark Bynum. Tell your boss to watch me about this one. I appear, I think it's called an arraignment. I don't know. Because I had to go there first before I went to court, and then I was taken to jail. So I go in there and stand before Lomenzo before these ridiculous concoctions of criminal attempt second and harassment second. Lomenzo's sitting there, and I don't think anybody from the district attorney's office is there that day. And he's got the piece of paper in his hand, and Lomenzo screams at me in Penfield Town Court, Christopher Chichester, you're charged with trespass. And I said to John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court, that's not the concoction for me. It's criminal attempt second. So the reason why I'm holding this up, again, why I need to redirect defendants away from this revolting rule. It says disobey court, D-I-S-O-B-E-Y-C-R-T. So disobey is correct in CRT. I believe he's holding me in disobeying court, criminal intent. I think he has a concocted fiction for me here because I corrected him for criminal attempt second, which he screamed to charge with trespass. I don't know if this is the case. When I contact you at Penfield Town Court, $28,000 Paul C. Metzler, $34,000 James P. Mullen Jr., tell me the answer. I'll write a freedom of information law about this if I'm charged with this criminal attempt second. I think you also, Paul C. Metzler, may have charged me with some type of criminal attempt second. This is to me insane. And you, as attorneys, the district attorney's office, can tell me if this is constitutional or if it's the law in the state of New York. There's the judge in the court, be Paul C. Metzler, John P. Lomenzo Jr., Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, or Julie Hahn of Monroe County Courts, there with 70% vote. It's not the victim. So there's the defendant in court. And the defendant will do something to talk to the judge. I'm constantly talking to these judges and telling them that they're corrupt, that I'm innocent. I don't just sit there like it's the Soviet Union and let them declare me guilty. So this is my question. Lomenzo's there as one person, one judge. And then I corrected him. And then can he just, as one person, one judge, concoct a crime that's disobeying the court or contempt of court right there and I can have additional jail time? Can that happen? I don't know. I don't know if this happened to me. I don't think this happened to me. But how do I have this charge disobeying court? Because I was only in Monroe County Jail for 3 weeks. And then where did I go from Monroe County Jail, Todd Baxter? So this is the corruption of the district attorney's office and Penfield Town Court. I'm demanding to know if I'm charged with disobeying court, because that's what it says, for correcting John P. Lomenzo Jr. in Penfield Town Court with the correct charges, criminal attempt second, and not trespass, and you refuse to tell me. That's why you corrupted the district attorney's office. That's why Penfield Town Court is corrupt. I got this at the library. How to reduce barriers from a criminal record. If I went back to a dog adoption society, I'm not going to be able to adopt a dog. 8 years of joy and happiness with my dog. They will see that I've been charged with all this fiction, all these lies, where prosecutors never talked in court. So my question is, I don't know if you're the ones to answer, but you're forcing me to have this that I got at the Rochester Public Library. How to reduce barriers from a criminal record. Get your rap sheet for free, which I'm going to have to do. Because I believe Regina Harper, the public defender's office, or Mark Phillips, told me that certain charges don't exist in it for me anymore, and they've been expunged, if that's the right word. I could be incorrect about that. But I'll find out. I wanted to know the full extent of my criminal record. Because when I moved back to Albany, which would be soon, I have to go to Albany and just arrest me again. I need to be able to report the full extent of my criminal record, and every single charge is a lie. And I'm holding this up because you freaks at the district attorney's office that should have dismissed all these charges. So, you freaks at the district attorney's office, who is it? The freaks prosecuting me in silence are right here. Because you, Perry Douglas, are the third name, $113,000, and you, Mark Monahan, in 112. There's a YouTube attached again. I'm talking to you. Who are the freaks prosecuting me in total silence? This is why your boss is corrupt. You will never know it. Just like Frank Ternetsky, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee, has been there for 57 years. That means if he's still employed at the Sheriff's Office, 57-year employee Frank Ternetsky, if he was hired at 18, is 75 years old. And is this the old man at the jail? I know you refuse to answer. I'm saying this because when I send this transfer to the Commission on Correction in Albany or some other regulatory agency that has control over you, Todd Baxter, about your jail, I'm going to say, how does he have a 57-year employee and is this the old man at the jail, which means he's a 75-year-old man around rapists and murderers and most violent criminals in Monroe County. When I worked in the New York State Capitol, there was a man just about this age. He was past 70. He worked for Governor Nelson Rockefeller, and he just walked around the Capitol all day long. I worked on the 3rd floor. We'd go up to the 5th floor. And he was employed because he knew people. Life, as I'm sure you know, is about who you know. I believe you, Todd Baxter, know Frank Ternetsky, and you want to keep Frank Ternetsky around as long as Frank Ternetsky wants to be around. Even though he's a 75-year-old man, he has to be because he's a 57-year employee. This is why you're corrupt. You will never know why you're corrupt. So, Michael Huan lied under oath. This is, again, the same form that I just read. I'm going to fill this out again about Michael Huan, Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee, lying under oath. Michael Huan's a perjurer. And you know what's going to happen? Same thing's going to happen to Michael Huan as with Richard J. Siegel. Nothing. Because the blue wall silence is going to protect both of them. That's why. Blue wall silence can be defined many ways. It's just not the cops are quiet about violent acts by the cops. It's that the superiors to the cops, like Todd Baxter is superior to Michael Huan and Richard J. Siegel. Todd Baxter's blue wall silence for Richard J. Siegel and Michael Huan, because it does not matter to Sheriff of Monroe County that his cop freak Richard J. Siegel attacked the Penfield Library. Does not matter to Sheriff Todd Baxter that his cop freak Michael Huan lied under oath. So, taking pictures of employees underwater pool, and I demand you be audited at the Sheriff's Office where I contact Control Thomas B. Grappling. This is one of the things I'm going to send him, where I hope you'll be able to look at it and think, what is this sheriff doing? Because I have demanded if this is tax dollars. And then you answer to me that it's a private event. Again, the Jonestown that you exist in, Todd Baxter, the 1984 that you existed, I want to know it. Demand don't just taxpayer dollars, and you tell them it's a private event, you refuse to answer. You're constantly refusing to answer questions, like that interview you gave with the Democratic Chronicle. And I look at the question asked, I look at your answer, and it's just this rambling and rambling when you refuse to answer the question. So, let's start to understand about what I'm saying here. And you do fail to understand, because I just told you, disclose the names of my prosecutors and holding this document up. I hope to attach the Freedom of Information Law. It doesn't have today's current date, but that shouldn't matter. When I update the Freedom of Information Law with the current date and send it to the District Attorney of Monroe County, she'll still refuse to disclose the names of my prosecutors. When I update these criminal complaints and add more detail to each criminal complaint, it still won't matter to the Sheriff of Monroe County, Todd Baxter, that his employee violently attacking the Penfield Public Library, Richard J. Seaman, his employee, Michael Huan, lied under oath. So, liberty is a soul's right to breathe. My name is Chris Rochester. I live in Rochester, New York. I have been an innocent man my whole